Happy birthday, Ned!
We're making another one. These are my favorite things to do now.
Happy birthday, Dad. I am here, along with my other family members, to answer questions. We'll edit the video. Thank you. I am the editor. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Stop. Stop, please. No more applause. Hope you get a couple of laughs out of this.
I know last year we had a little debacle and thought that was your 58th birthday, but this is actually your 58th birthday.
But you're like, and she's like, hey, buddy.
You know, soothingly patting your back.
Jazz.
I don't know.
And I hope you cry. No, just kidding. Well, you're gonna, but that wasn't like the intent. It wasn't like, we're gonna make him cry. And yeah, I hope you love this, because we love you.
Love yins.
Happy birthday, Dad. I love you.
All right, love you, Dad.
Things that Dad says or does that are uniquely Dad. So many. Probably the number one thing that stands out to me is, oh, did ya? Hey, hon! Oh, Dad, you're so classic. Or there's the one where he says, yeah, they told me I had to date 5 women from West Virginia to get a full set of teeth.
Oh, there's one with Mom where it's like he had to date several women to get a full set of teeth because she's from West Virginia.
Yeah, I had to date like 3 of them to get a full set of teeth in West Virginia. And we're all like,
Bruh. The one with West Virginia, how you had to date like 13 women from West Virginia to get a full set of teeth. Never gets old. Actually, that's really funny. I'm not even gonna lie.
There's that. Or there's always the whenever I'm like telling him a story or something and he's kind of listening but kind of not, then he realizes it's his turn to speak, but he didn't pay attention to the conversation so far. So he'll go, oh, say that last part again. Because, you know, he's trying to keep up.
Things that Dad says that are uniquely Dad. John, I swear if you zoom up on my Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer nose, I'm gonna sue you!
As they shouted out with glee, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
You'll go down in history.
Okay, anyway. Things that Dad says that are uniquely Dad. I feel like there are so many. I guess I would start with dumb enough to believe, smart enough to execute is definitely one of Dad's taglines, for sure. I can't escape it. I've been hearing it since I was 12. There's also, I don't know, I feel like there's the weird noises that he makes. Like when he goes like, I don't know.
what are things Dad says or does that are uniquely Dad? Making his kids spell rhythm at the age of 4. That was fun. Even when I'm like trying to type it out, I'm like, Hythm. And paradiddles. Like, I think we just really wanted to bring forth that drummer genetic. So that was funny. I also think it's very uniquely Dad to make your kids live by, you know, the rules and laws of the Bible and The Godfather at the same time. Some might think that's contradictory. Not Dad.
First question, what are things that are just so very uniquely Dad? I had to make a list. I had to really think about this because I'm like, there's so many. First of all, folks, Nat, the pseudo Google lip, sometimes you'll make to Mom when you want something. You'll be like, when you wanted to make popcorn or put magic in it or whatever. You people blaming Mom for things that are not even relatively close to being Mom's fault. Hey, hon! This was funny. Soap's the saucy spider. You don't like my song. Using 4 trillion napkins every single time you eat, even when you don't need 4 trillion napkins, and being afraid of horses. Those are things that are all very uniquely Dad.
Some things Dad says makes him very, it's all unique to him. Help! Where do I begin? Sometimes, whenever it's quiet and peaceful, Dad lets out the most sound-breaking noise barrier, like, screech ever. And we're all like, shh! And he always goes, whenever he's wrong at something, or just like one of those things. I don't know, but there's definitely more if I sat here and thought about it.
Probably the story about the guy on the football team. You know, when he played college football and the guy used to run alongside him and say, "Steve, you're a leader," you know. I've heard him tell that. I love that story. He's told that so many times. I could definitely tell that one.
The stories I could tell better than Dad are probably every football joke he's ever made. Such as they made a National Geographic special about him because he was the only white running back on the team. He has the #1 selling jersey after he played football because of Ben Roethlisberger. Troy Polamalu. Troy Polamalu. And there are more that are just escaping me, but those are just a few of the fun ones.
What's a story you've heard Dad tell so many times that you can tell it better than he can? And I know that everybody else is gonna say this, but it's the Bush story. It's the Bush in Disney where he was like, and I thought it was grass. It was so well cut and smooth, and I was trying to be a big athlete, and I I can retell the way he tells it because that's the punchline.
When you met Mom, I've heard you tell that story so many times, and you tell it with different variants, but the general premise of the story is your friends, were like, hey, you should meet each other, and then you see Mom for the first time, and you're like a person from the planet Mars, and you're always like, I lost the ability to speak English, and then you were like, you're really pretty, so you tell that story a lot, and it's probably true. Mom confirms every detail. You're like, and she's like, hey buddy, we're just friends.
The story that Dad tells that I could probably tell better. That's not my wife, that's my daughter. I mean,
Hold up. Wait a minute.
pause.
Don't have mercy. I didn't mean to say it like that.
This is my wife, not my daughter. He says that to any new person he meets because his mom looks so unnaturally young for her age. It's a compliment, Rob. It was a compliment. Another story he always tells during his sermons is his football story, how it all began, all that jazz. He tells a lot of stories, but those two are the ones that stand out the most.
What is childhood memory? I have several because, obviously you were part of my childhood. First one that was sort of sweet that I remembered randomly was when we were really little, when you'd come back from work and you'd throw us up in the foyer air and catch us. That was always so fun. I remember playing at the beach with Dad, playing in the ocean, throwing the frisbee during COVID. That was awesome. Playing in the snow during winters, riding bikes in Hilton Head and stuff. You were always so fun. You were the best growing up. You were Mr. Fun. You always made everything so fun.
Favorite childhood memory with Dad? This is pretty easy. Throwing a rock. Classic. Pigskin thrown around. that and playing games with Dad in general, because I don't know why, but any board game we play with Dad just doesn't end well for him, unfortunately. Poor Dad.
My favorite memory with Dad has to be when we were at the Hidden Oaks house, and there was so much snow one year, and we built an igloo. Well, Dad and some neighbors built an igloo. I think this was at Carly Drive, and it was huge. And so then Dad, after we were done building it, it was like a few days later, Dad jumped from the deck and then landed on the igloo. And at first I was terrified, and then when I saw that he lived, I think everyone was like, I want to jump off the deck! And Mom was like, no! It was a good time.
I didn't know Dad when I was a child, but some of my favorite memories of him with you guys as children would be like bath time was always like the whole bathroom was crazy wet, lots of loud giggling and yelling. Those were fun times. And because Dad worked so much when you guys were little and he traveled so much, so whenever he would get home from work, it was like his fun time to be with you guys was like splashing and having fun in the bath. And then, you know, the bedtime routine, which was like, you know, everybody's calm and restful, and I finally got you fed and bathed and cleaned up, and we're in bed. Everybody's like quietly, you know, we're drifting off. And then Dad, he would come in and like he'd be tickling everybody, and and it's like, wow, it's high noon again. But it was fun. It was fun. Definitely good times with Dad.
I think my favorite childhood memory with Dad was when he first introduced us to rock music. On the way to Miss Tara's house for piano lessons, he listened to the music by the Doobie Brothers. And now that song is forever in our family heritage. So thanks, Dad. I love that song. I also have a playlist called Papa with all the songs you've shown me. I love it. It's really fun.
Oh, another good memory is when you guys, he would like take off his shirt, you know, and he would just lay on the floor like a big bear, and he would like fall asleep. And you guys would take markers and you would like draw all over him, smiley faces and stuff. And like one time he got up the next day and took a shower or whatever, but it didn't all come off. And so he had on a t-shirt of some sort, white, I think it was a white t-shirt, and he was playing racquetball or he was working out or doing something with a friend, and all of a sudden through the shirt are coming all these like smiley faces and stuff. It was bleeding through his shirt, all the marker, and he was like, oh yeah, that's just I let the kids color on me last night. So cute. Original. That is an original Dad thing.
Dad was there for me, pretty much like after most of my soccer games. If I did terrible, he was there, being Dad, you know, nice. And after football games as well, he's just like very chill about it. He's like, well, he always says, well, just so you know, he always, well, and he has some nice, very wise like paragraphs. I'm like, dang, where did that come from? Words of wisdom, one might say. Oh, and when I was up till like 2 at night trying to write an essay and I haven't even started it.
Help me!
Riverview moment.
Name a time that Dad was there for you is more like name a time that he wasn't there for you, because I feel like he's always there. And I'm blessed for it. But I guess the immediate moment is every time I call Dad, he answers. But Dad is coming to help me move, and he's gonna drive a U-Haul with me to Nashville, so that's gonna be fun. He's also been there financially in times of struggle. He's been picking me up and setting me up for success. It's great, Dad. I'm literally about to cry.
A time that Dad was there for you. A time that Dad was there for you. I feel like when haven't you been there? You've just always been a problem solver. So it's like whenever I have a problem with something, you already have like 3 ways of how to solve it, like socially or like literal problem. So that's always great to have like someone who's like ready to fix it right then and there on your side. But if I had to think of a specific instance, I think it was really good to have Dad or you there as like an athlete, like trying to figure out like collegiate sports and everything. And even though like you don't know a ton about rowing, it was like you were always there and you were always like willing to share advice, like how to talk to coaches and stuff. And I really appreciate that. Also, how to do interviews. That was big. You guys would always, like, Dad, would always give advice on, like, how to, like, present myself professionally in a way that people would, like, respect me for it. And it's really helped me in the long run, like, eye contact and being articulate and, like, using a good volume and...
Name a time that Dad was there for you. Okay. For me, it would be easier to name a time that Dad wasn't there for me. He's always there for me. Whew, not supposed to cry yet. I remember, okay, pause. Talk amongst yourselves. I remember one time when we were dating, this is so silly, it's not a crying moment, but we were dating and I had this like roommate situation. I don't even remember what it was now, but at the time it was like a super big deal. Like they were fighting, I was fighting with them or something. And I just was feeling like really down and just I was upset, you know? And I had all this laundry to do. I must have been talking to Dad and he was like, you know, he goes, why don't you just pack up all your laundry and bring it over here and do it? Because his apartment building had like a laundry room. But I just remember sitting in his laundry room with him. And, you know, my wash is going and I'm just kind of like deflated. I was just feeling like so down and just upset. And he was just listen. He would just listen and he was just so gentle and he would just be silly and like try to make me laugh and stuff. But it was just so comforting. It's just so comforting. He's just such a good friend. So, yeah. Whew. Okay, gotta see for the next question. Hang on. There's also this time that Dad was there for me. This is a little levity. The time that I was about to give birth to Livy Grace and Dad was on the chair at the foot of the bed with the doctor. They've got their feet propped up on the bed and they're chit-chatting about the Steelers' offense that season. And I'm having labor contractions. Hey, Dad, let's go! That was funny. And also, here's another good memory. These are like big standout memories, is like when my dad died. Oh, Dad was such a rock. He just was so like emotionally present and just physically present even. Just his physical presence is so comforting, I think, to all of us. But, you know, I was so pregnant at that time and hormonal and emotional anyway, as any pregnant girl is, but it was just such heartache for me that season. And Dad was just always there and he would just sit there and just let me cry, you know, or like at the funeral, I couldn't talk, you know, and so Dad stood up and just, he shared about my dad's life and about, you know, he just talked and it was so beautiful, you know, the way that he was so sincerely able to just share good things that he knew about my dad to all the people that were there and all of our family and stuff. And I knew I couldn't do it. And so it was just amazing to hear him, you know, share such wonderful things that he knew about my dad, because there weren't a lot of wonderful things, but he knew them. He knew the ones that were there and he shared them, and it was beautiful. And, you know, one time, I think we were having an anniversary. I think this might have been like 10th anniversary or 15th anniversary or something. And at this point, we were like, you know, we have all these little kids and all these other things we want to spend money on. So we kind of just agreed, let's not spend money on our anniversary. Like, let's go out to a nice dinner together and just celebrate, but like no gifts. Like, we just decided. And so, yeah, that's good. So we went out to El Pizziolo, which was in Pittsburgh. And so like you come in, it's this yummy Italian restaurant. And in the back, they have this beautiful, cozy, cute little courtyard, little brick pavers, and like all these like string lights and stuff. And it was so cute. And we just had the best time. The food was so good and we just loved our conversation. It was so nice. And then we ordered dessert, and this waitress comes out and she brings the dessert, and it's like a little jewelry box on, like, wrapped up with the napkin, like real pretty. And I was like, oh, what? And it was this beautiful rainbow necklace. It's gorgeous. I still love it. And I was like, wait a minute, we decided we weren't doing gifts. And I felt so bad because, you know, I love to give gifts, right? And we just cried together. Both of us, it was like the Holy Spirit was in that moment, and we just celebrated our life and our love, and it was really a beautiful moment. I'm happy to have that nice memory.
And then, answer number 4. When was a time Dad was there for me? As the editor, I get to see other people's responses, of course. And everybody's saying sort of the same thing that I was going to say. You've always been there for me. You've always been there for us. You've just always been there. There's never been a time where you weren't there. But one moment specifically was when I felt the Lord tell me to talk to you guys and sort of open up and all that stuff, just about things that were going on in my heart, my life, and being at ORU. And the Lord was like, he told me, and I was like, I don't want to do this at all. But I did, and you and Mom, but especially you, it meant a lot to me that you were so present and understanding, and I don't know, I felt so safe, I felt so covered, and you're really there for me, and I really needed that. Those 2 conversations were very healing for me, so thank you for being there for me.
Okay, this is hard because he's just the most wonderful guy I ever knew. So, okay, probably one of my most favorite qualities about Dad is his beautiful heart. He has the most pure and sincere heart. I just love it. And he is so, like, he's just all heart, you know? Like, he's so passionate about this and that. He's passionate about politics, but he's passionate about how he loves his family, you know? And he's just passionate. He's passionate about the Lord. I just can't imagine being married to someone who was not passionate about the things that he believes in and loves, because that would be so boring. And there's one thing you can say about Dad, he is not boring. Yeah, but just his passion, the way he loves people. It was one of the things I loved about him when we were dating, is he's very sincere and very genuine with total strangers. Like, we would go to pay for gas at a gas station, and he would look the person in the eye, this disgruntled little, you know, gremlin of a gas station worker, and Dad would just look him in the eye and just say, hey, how you doing today? You know, like, genuine, just considerate and kind towards people. And I love that about him. It makes me want to be a better person, because you're such a good egg, Big Daddy. Love you so much.
Whew. The quality I most admire about Dad is his vulnerability and willingness to be open with his thoughts and feelings. It is a rare trait to be had, especially when you have such strong emotions and you're able to communicate them well. I think you've grown a lot in that, and I love that about you, Dad.
Well, that kind of bleeds into the next question. What quality about Dad do you most admire and why? I think that you've never done anything like half-bootied. You always give your 110% to everything. Like, whether it comes to sports, even now, like, you're like throwing out your knee trying to keep up with Judah. And I think that shows a lot of effort, but, calm down. But also, like, when it comes to, like, studying for your tests. And I've also never known a parent who asks kids for, like, feedback. Like, am I being a good dad? Am I being a good friend? And I really respect that a lot because, like, you're humbling yourself to put yourself in a position for, like, helpful criticism. And I really appreciate that.
And then, what is a quality about Dad that I admire? I admire the way that you love so faithfully and passionately. You have loved us so well, like, just so well. You've never stopped loving us with like 3,000%, and it always shows. Like, you've never been disengaged, and that's so rare. Yeah, you've loved us so well, and we truly would not be the same without you in our lives. We just wouldn't. You've always given 100% to us, always, and I'm deeply grateful. So thanks, Dad. You are awesome. I'm talking to like a camera right now, but you're awesome, Dad. We love you. You've loved us really well.
Quality I love most about Dad is definitely his humor and his like caringness, and also the fact that he's way too nice. Like, Dad, sometimes you gotta tell him no. Like, you're too nice. But also, what I just said before. His caringness, yeah. He cares so much about all of us, and it's like, I don't know. It's just like, I don't even know how to explain it. It's like, I know Mom loves me as well. Shout out to Mom. But like, Dad, like, he will fight he'll like fight, even if he loses all his teeth or breaks a bone, he'll like fight for us to the point of exhaustion. Like, it's just like, I don't know why, but it's just like kind of hard to imagine Dad fighting someone. But fighting for us, that's like easier to imagine because Dad's like that protector. And Dad's pretty funny. Thanks for being funny, Dad. Shout out to Dad. Specifically mine.
So, this actually is your 58th birthday. I know last year we had a little debacle and thought that was your 58th birthday, but this is actually your 58th birthday. And I hope that it is the most wonderful, prosperous, peace-filled bumper crop of like fruit and love and a harvest of kindness that is just heaped back on you for all the love and the goodness that you've given to us as your family and all the people in your life. You're wonderful, and I'm so thankful that you're ours. Hang on. Boy, this is tough. Oh. You aren't even in the room and I'm losing my noodle here. Happy birthday. I love you with all my heart.
Happy birthday, Nad! Love yins. And thanks for helping me move and get me through this crazy season. Love ya.
So, I'll probably be standing right next to you and, soothingly patting your back, like, don't cry, Dad. But I hope you have a great birthday, and let's try to not eat too much cinnamon cake. All right, love you, Dad. Bye.
And then any final message, any impromptu thing I want to say, just thank you, Dad. We will never know the full extent of all that you have sacrificed for us. Everything. So thank you for all that you've poured into us and all that you've prayed for us and just everything. We love you, and you're a really solid dad. You did a really good job on us, and it just means a lot. You mean the world to us, so thanks, Dad. We love you a lot, and hope you enjoyed the video a lot. So that's all. Any final message? Have a happy birthday. Woohoo, big 58. Let's hear it. Not 60 yet. That's all I have to say. Love you, Dad.
Happy birthday.
Today's the day. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Where do I begin? Happy birthday, Dad. I love you. Thank you for being you. If you were any different, then I don't know. You still be my dad, and I still love you. I don't know where I was going with that. Happy birthday.